there's a quarantine, I can catch up on all these movies I've been meaning to watch. Let's see. Ad Astra? No. No, let's see. Cats? No, I've seen that. Daniel Isn't Real? Nah. What's this? A Halloween puppy. Yeah, sure, why not? I think I would have preferred the coronavirus. Or blindness. A Halloween puppy is really bad. And I'm not talking cult following bad, like The Room or After Last Season. I'm talking Crowbot would blow his brains out before even getting through the opening credits kind of bad. Now I know it's not even close to being spooky season, and I apologize that this took so long to make. I planned to make this last Halloween, but I had to rewrite the script for this movie review a couple times, because the first couple of drafts read like suicide notes, because after watching this film, I wanted nothing more than to yeet myself off of this mortal coil. A Halloween Puppy is the 14th reason why, which would make the TV show 13 Reasons Why the 15th reason why. I'm going to go through this movie plot as quickly as possible while still leaving in enough detail that you don't have to go and watch the movie yourself, because you shouldn't. The movie opens with this weird flash animation of spooky Halloween stuff with stock pictures of random dogs, and that lasts for more than 3 minutes. You'd think that if you could make it through that atrocity, you could make it through anything. You'd be wrong. So the movie actually starts out with an aborted jump scare and proceeds to give us some really weird mother-son interactions wherein she gives him a chew toy that was trapped inside of a dog as a joke. The next day, October 30th, we learn that the son isn't crazy about going to college, but his mother, surprise surprise, kinda wants him to go. He wants to be a film student, and I can only assume that this is the director projecting his failed hopes and dreams onto the cast and story. The mansion is justified away as being a good deal gotten from a real estate agent whose dog needed help at the animal hospital where the mother works. Cool. Then, as if he were Sherlock, our boy here deduces in great detail what his mother's boyfriend, Ted, is going to do when he gets there. And guess what? He comes in and does it. Step by step. This leads his mother to feel like her relationship is stuck in a rut. And then we're introduced to Molly and her book, and she tries to be on this.
Don't make me angry. You won't like me when I'm angry.
Oh, that was a whole copyright infringement. I'll sue you right into the f***ing ground.
You're cute when you're mad.
We discover that this book looks a lot like a witch's spell book and that she's really into this dork for some reason. Then Molly goes inside and talks to his mother about them going to a cabin Molly's parents own to solve some of her
personal stuff going on.
She just wants to add spontaneity to her drab and miserable role. Then we're introduced to the twins.
With the twins.
These two buff hunks are the antagonists, I guess? His mother tries to save him from them stealing his Halloween decorations for their haunted house, but fails miserably, and they just end up taking the whole box. Nice work. And then to kick him while he's down, his mother tells him that they're going to a cabin for Halloween, the one night above all others he cherishes, just so she could work on her relationship problems. Little did they know that more terrible plot awaited. Then Adam. Is that his name? Adam complains to Molly about the whole thing and she flirts and he's oblivious and who cares? Despite being the aloof one, Ted is actually the voice of reason here. Why can't we have the conversation here? It avoids your son missing his favorite holiday, it avoids making Ted uncomfortable, and you can deal with it more immediately. And then they start screwing around with magic and I guess Adam is trying to get back at Ted for making him miss Halloween as if it wasn't his mother's fault. He keeps messing up the spell as a joke, but then Ted, when asking what the kids are doing, accidentally completes it.
Neato!
Okay. And then when Ted wakes up on Halloween, oh Lord, he's a puppy.
I'm a puppy?
Then the twins come back as they're about to leave just to remind you that they're the antagonists. And then we get a 2.5-minute montage of car driving shots with some voiceover. I get the impression that this movie is trying to drag a 30-page script to over an hour. And then they arrive at the cabin, but no Ted. Then we get a minute and a half of the mom playing with the dog. I still think we're padding time here. And then we're to, in my humble opinion, one of the more painful scenes in the movie, so I'm just going to skim over this real quick. Just kidding, we're back to the dog for a full minute. Okay, we're back. It's revealed that Molly is a closet witch in training. Molly confesses that she used a spell from the spell book and that Rachel, the witch lady, says you shouldn't mess around with magic, and then immediately proceeds to make a joke at Adam's expense involving magic. Do you want some more B-roll of Kristen DeBell playing with the dog? It's your lucky day. Here, take another minute and a half, if you will. It turns out Ted still hasn't arrived at the cabin by the time the kids get back, and Molly is starting to be suspicious. Then Molly and the mother have a heart-to-heart in front of the dog about how she wishes Ted were more romantic and spontaneous, and Molly knows the feeling because she secretly got the hots for her son. Why is the mother dumping all this info on her son's friend? Another minute and a half of dog time, and the mother eats grass with the dog? She eats grass. Well, I guess it's better than filleting the Mad Hatter. That sounds really weird with no context, but I promise it'll make sense. Just hold on. Oh, here's another painful scene. Basically, the pacing is so off with all of these scenes, I can barely bear to watch them. Rachel describes that the spell they did was transfiguration, and with some painful dialogue, they realize that Ted turned himself into a dog because he said, "Nito," which is
a term that bespeaks all manner of tricksterism.
It's a little after 12:30 on a Friday night, and I'm editing this film review, and it's about here that I almost completely lost the will to live. So they have to turn the dog back before midnight, otherwise he might remain a puppy forever. They lie to Adam's mom about what's going on, and they decide to go back home so they can reverse the spell there. I'm so glad we went to the cabin just for the explanation of the magic. It's like most of this movie is exposition. It takes them another minute and a half montage to get home. Molly goes to her house to get some stuff on the way back and runs into those twins. They take her book because it was foreshadowed the whole movie, and now Adam and Molly have to go through the spooky house to get it. You aren't ready for the production quality and the level of adversity and challenge that our dynamic duo has to face when they enter this haunted house. It's going to blow your mind. It's world class. Are you ready? It's a warehouse where they superimposed House of Horrors on the front. They walk through the house of half-assed jump scares, and eventually they confront twins. The twins get scared off when Molly conjures up a spooky CGI ball of piss, and then they take the book. So they go back, they say the spell backwards, and they're shocked when the dog disappears. And then Ted shows up back on the couch he fell asleep on, happy he's not a dog anymore, and he said he has an epiphany and he's going to be better. And then the twins come back and give him their stuff back. And then the love interest resolves with a kiss at the end. Now he'll have to live in fear that his girlfriend might turn him into an animal at any point. During the credits, we get so much dog footage, it pads the credits out to 8 minutes long. Why? I don't know, but I guess they just wanted to use all the B-roll they could because otherwise it would go to waste. And at the end of the credits, they tell us that none of this has any basis in reality. Oh, good, I was worried. Okay, we made it. We made it through the plot. I mean, it wasn't bad. It could have been worse. I can't currently think of a way it could have been worse, but it certainly could have been, I think. And believe it or not, there are some known names in this movie. I mean, not well known per se, but you may have heard of them. Eric Roberts played the mob boss in The Dark Knight. Kristen DeBell was in an adult musical adaptation of Alice in Wonderland. Is that right? Even Susan Olsen, the youngest Brady daughter, is in this.
A star can't go on television all fat and broken out.
I don't know who these other people are, but the acting is hard to watch. Now, I get it. Acting is easy, but acting very well is hard. Trust me. I know. I'm willing to give the actors the benefit of the doubt. You can't make bricks without clay. But when you watch this movie and you see scenes like this...
Oh, it's happening!
What is it?
Haven't you noticed?
What?
Your hands have turned into tentacles!
and like this.
What is that?
It's just a plastic spider.
Sorry.
Don't be sorry. Just get mad.
mean, how could you not leave things like that on the cutting room floor? Let's play a drinking game. I'll take a shot of this vodka every time a stupid clip art transition rolls across the screen. Just kidding. I would die. And also, I already drank all of this. Just kidding again. There's always more. All these clip art transitions undercut the seriousness that you can tell was attempted in this movie. There's this feeling of they actually tried to do something, and yet the transitions just totally ruin it. Oh, and then there's the music. Oh, the music. I'll cut the music some slack because it's ultimately the decision of the director and the editor to decide what music goes where. And I'll give them this, the music is consistent. Consistently wrong. And then we get to the most appalling visual eyesore of this entire movie. The lazy, half-assed attempt at day-for-night shooting. Day-for-night shooting is actually a very common practice for low-budget films because it costs a lot of money to shoot at night. Say you have a night scene, you need a lot of lighting, you need a good low-light camera. It adds up, it costs a lot of money. So what you do is you wait until dusk or dawn, where it's believable to be night, but there's still ambient light, and you don't need to light the scene a lot more to get the desired look. But what you don't do is you don't do it at like 10 in the morning when the sun is clearly in the sky and shooting rays into the windows, and it just, I don't understand why. Who is this movie even for? Like, is it for kids? I don't think so, because the plot is super boring. It won't keep a kid's attention. Even if it's made for kids, there's this massive catalog of well-done, competent, really, really thought-provoking movies that are for kids. You can't even call this a cash grab. It's not even that. So what is it? And how about those subplots, huh?
And those twins.
It would not be a David DeCoteau film without college hunks just shoved in somewhere. I could have worded that better. Oh, you're not familiar with David DeCoteau's work, in which homoeroticism plays a very unique role. It's kind of peppered in throughout, and I didn't know about it either, to be honest, until my cinephile friend Matt brought it to my attention. And now whenever I watch a DeCoteau film, I just watch for wherever he can fit them in. I really need to think before I say these things out loud. Here's a rapid-fire list of David DeCoteau's work in which homoeroticism is not so subtly sprinkled in. Now, of course, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of homoeroticism in some of your movies, but you have this family-friendly flick that people are going to watch with their kids, and you look at this guy's other line of work, and you don't want to show that to your kids, right? Which is probably why he's credited as Mary Crawford in his family-friendly stuff, like A Talking Cat. There's this other movie called Love on a Leash that is arguably of worse quality that's roughly the same premise. This guy turns into a dog and is in love. I haven't seen the movie. I only watched Ralph the Movie Maker's review of this movie, and it's really good. You should check it out. But what I find funny is that this movie got a very high rating on IMDb. I think it's like 9 point something, whereas A Halloween Puppy got like a 2 something. People don't even ironically like this film. Did you know that there is an adult musical adaptation of Alice in Wonderland? I didn't, but now I'm cursed with the knowledge of knowing that such a thing exists. And I'm only bringing this up because Kristen DeBell was the lead actress in both A Halloween Puppy or Magic Puppy or whatever the hell it's called, and the X-rated film. And it really started to get me wondering, if I got to choose between being in A Halloween Puppy or the pornographic musical, which one would I pick? And you know what? I'd pick the smut film every time, because you could see that effort was put into it. It was actually not bad. The writing was good, the singing and the music was good.
Queen's a bitch. Toodaloo.
I mean, this is what happens when you put some effort and some love, different kind of love, and some thought and some creativity and some talent. You mix all that together and you come out with this, it's strange, but it's certainly competent and better than A Halloween Puppy. I mean, come on. In conclusion, don't watch this movie. I watched it, so you don't have to. Do I think that films like this have a place in today's cinema? Sure. That place is here at the Pet Cemetery in Presidio, San Francisco. The only difference between the movie and the things that are buried here is that at some point someone loved the things that are buried here. Okay, but real talk now. Do I actually think that movies like this belong in cinema? Of course, because that gives me the high ground to call movies like this and this movies. Yeah. Okay, bye.